Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. It is Denise Salcedo, and I have a brand new interview here for today. My guest is none other than All Heart, Blake Christian. What's up, Blake?
What's up? What's up? Happy to be here.
Happy to have you. After the tremendous amount of work, the all the matches that you had, Wrestlemania weekend. I mean, you were everywhere, Blake. I gotta ask you, how are you feeling right now, mentally and physically?
So the first, I think it was on the Sunday when I was getting ready to go home. I had like a massive back spasm, I guess, from all the wrestling. But ever since then, I've been okay. I've been a little sore, but mentally I'm good. But physically, it took a little bit of time. Sorry, my dog. Took a
It's
little bit of
okay.
time to get back into it, but I'm ready to go for sure.
I can't even imagine it. Like, where did you get back? Like today, or like because I know you still have a bunch of schedules, so you're still traveling.
Yeah, so I got back on Monday.
All
So
right, nice. Nice. So let's talk about this weekend because I want to get a little bit more in terms of like I'm looking at your schedule and it is absolutely insane. So these were the shows that you were at, and if I missed one, please correct me. Black Label Pro, Impact Wrestling, the Multiverse of Matches, GCW, both nights of Joey Janela's spring break shows, New Japan Strong, Ring of Honor. I mean, kind of like hearing all of those names. How do you feel knowing that you were able to go out there and perform at all of these shows?
it was cool, especially the Ring of Honor day because I had no idea they was reached out to like last minute, so it was pretty exciting. But now I'm able to say I'm the only person to ever do ROH, New Japan, GCW, and Impact all in one day. So that's a pretty cool thing to say.
When you saw your schedule on paper, once you found out that you were also going to be adding this Ring of Honor matchup, what were you thinking? Like, what was going through your mind of like, hey, I got all of these shows on the same day?
I knew that I had to make it back in time for New Japan, so I was a little bit stressed out about that. And so I knew I could make it. So I was stressed, but I knew I had it. So, but it was pretty cool to see it like all together, knowing what I had to do.
That's really cool. And going back to Ring of Honor, how did you feel about the show, especially given, all of the major changes that have been occurring, now under the new ownership? How did it feel, getting to be there and just kind of seeing, sorry, excuse me, just getting to see everything that was going on, behind the scenes? It was a very, very busy show.
Oh yeah, it was. So I didn't get to stay for all of it, but for what I was there for, it was pretty cool to see. Especially, so I never got to see how Ring of Honor was ran beforehand because I only worked for like Future of Honor, so I
Mhm.
never got to do like any of that. But to see like the route it was taking from from the agents backstage to all the guys backstage, and Tony himself, like it was really cool to see, especially the vision that they're looking to do. And I think it's off to a great start, especially with Samoa Joe there now as well. So it was pretty
Yeah,
cool to
that was
see.
incredibly cool.
No doubt,
Yeah,
no doubt.
yeah. And I couldn't even imagine too because I knew a couple of people that had kind of mentioned that they got these last minutes like, hey, like we want you on the show. And so to be able to have that opportunity, and given that it was, the Ring of Honor show, aside from your big WrestleMania, aside from WrestleMania itself, was the show that everybody was talking about, that everybody was, excited to see.
Yes. Um, yeah, I don't know. I was happy to be a part. I didn't think I was going to get to be a part of it. So I was happy that not only was I a part of the first like reboot of it, but I was also the first match period. So that was pretty cool to me, especially with someone like Cole Cabana, who's such a legend in ROH and wrestling period. So that was pretty good. It was I'm not gonna say like a dream of mine, but it definitely was up there.
In terms of like everything that happened to you the entire weekend, what would you say was like the most memorable moment? Whether if it was a match, where it was just like a behind the scenes moment, what stood out to you the most?
So I think the story is the me doing all those shows in one day, especially the all the major promotions in one day. So I probably will be the only person to ever do that. So I think that was my biggest takeaway from it. That's my memorable moment to say like I was the first person to do this, maybe the only person to do this. So that's my takeaway from it all.
I think that's definitely a good takeaway from it all for sure. And like it's just so cool to it's kind of like something you get to brag about, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool thing to know, and then people know that you're out there, that you're hustling, that you're putting in the work, etc. Now, on top of this, Blake, one of the cool things about this specific WrestleMania is that this was the first WrestleMania in a while where it's actually felt normal. You know, given the pandemic and just everything that we've been through, I feel like this was like the first real WrestleMania where not only do you have like the big events, but you also have all of the independent promotions. You got people traveling from all over the world. You got to see, you know, whether, you know, so many of your peers in wrestling, maybe some that you see regularly and some that you don't see regularly. So what was it like to, you know, just be amongst all of, you know, your fellow peers?
So this was my first WrestleMania weekend ever. I was scheduled for it 2 years ago, right when the pandemic hit, and then it was all kind of taken away, and I had a lot of good stuff lined up then. And then the second one, I was obviously signed to WWE, so I couldn't. But just to be able to experience it, especially the way I did, you know, I was hustling, and I was coming out of WWE, so I really wasn't expecting to hustle like that. But I mean, I'm happy because I overall I love wrestling. I don't. The money is great, but I love to wrestle, and to be able to do that many times and on such a big weekend, that was special to me. So it was cool to be my first weekend, especially.
Were you nervous heading into it, thinking like, "Oh my god, this is my first WrestleMania weekend where I'm going out doing all these events. I gotta, you know, show out, etc." What was running through your mind?
I think more excited of the moment. You know, like I do get nervous, but I know what I can do. You know, like the matches steadily get bigger, but like my mindset will always stay the same. I have to outdo what I did last match, and I try to do that like every match. That's why I try to pull out something new, something different. So I wasn't really nervous about performing. I was more nervous of just to be able to experience, excited to experience it, I think.
Did you have any interesting moments in terms of like one of the things that I kind of noticed being there was just like you get to meet a bunch of people that maybe you hadn't met before, and you're like having these interactions with people where you're like, oh my god, you know, this is kind of crazy because like everyone, like here's the thing about like being backstage at any one of these shows, it's like anyone who's anybody is backstage, and so you're having all of these interactions. Did you have any memorable interactions? Anybody that you met for the first time? Anything like that behind the scenes?
So my specific one was two. It was both at the second part of spring break. Um, I had interacted with Maven. He gave me a drop kick, and then also Jimmy Wang Yang gave me his moonsault. So to interact with those guys both in the ring and then backstage was pretty cool for me because those are guys like I used to watch on TV all the time, especially like Jimmy Wang Yang. You know, like I was such a big fan of him just from the moonsault alone. So to be under it, it was spectacular. But yeah, those two were my memorable moments of like interactions, I'd say.
And that's the thing too. I got to chat with Maven, and I was so like, he is such a nice guy, like so happy. You know, big smile across his face. Kind of has like this energy where like he has this good energy, and then like passes it to you. So when you said Maven, I was like, yes.
Yeah. He came back. He shook my hand and he says, "You had the best view of all the drop kicks. What did you think?" And I was like phenomenal as always.
That is so super cool, man. That is great. Okay, so now let's go ahead and continue on because one of the things that I feel like we definitely have to touch on, and because this is big, you know, you just mentioned that this was your first, you know, WrestleMania weekend going and doing all of these independent shows. Prior, you were with WWE. Obviously, you were hustling way before your WWE period, but I do want to talk a little bit about your time in WWE because it was unfortunately a short amount of time that you got to be there. February 2021, it's reported that you signed with WWE and you're out there. You know, you got to see you on the NXT breakout tournament and all of that. And then, you know, you're doing 205 Live, you're doing NXT. A couple months later, November, all of a sudden you're part of the, you know, mass releases that we had been seeing throughout, you know, several periods in WWE. So I have to start off by asking you, with all of that being said, kind of seeing where you're at right now, if you could kind of go back and tell yourself like the moment that you got released, like what would you go back and tell yourself?
So I wouldn't change anything. I don't think. maybe I would prepare myself for the release more. But I got to wrestle Kushida, which Kushida is an absolute dream match of mine. I got to wrestle for a championship that, I grew up watching a lot of people wrestle and hold. I also got to be a part of the breakout tournament. So now I'm a guy who has wrestled for not only the Super J Cup, I've wrestled for the Super X Cup. Now I've wrestled for the NXT breakout tournament. So I get to say that as well. Yeah, I don't think I would change anything, maybe just prepare myself more for the release than I was ready for.
You mentioned preparing yourself. So what was that reaction? Did you expect it, especially thinking like, hey, I've just got here? Are you really going to, kick me out when I really just got here?
So a lot of people ask me this. I don't know, like I was upset, yeah, and it kind of just came out of nowhere. But also at the same time, when you're in there, you kind of expect it at the same time, especially because you're around so many people that have had it before. Like me and Alex, best friends. He got released prior to me. Me and Anthony Green, him got released prior to me. So you kind of always expect it. Like you hear the rumors and you're like, okay, maybe this is me, and sometimes it is. And in my case, it was me. So I wouldn't say that it came so unexpectedly. It was unexpected, but at the same time, it wasn't, because you kind of have to be in that mindset. Like, hey, you might get released. You got to think about your next move after this.
When you said, oh, it was me, did they tell you specifically it was you, or did they just give you the budget cuts line?
The budget cut line, that was it. Just the budget cut line. Keep working. We'll see what the future holds, and that was it. So,
is there anything you feel that you could have done differently? Like, is there anything that you're like, well, maybe if I would have done this, if I would have shown that, maybe I wouldn't have been cut? Does that go through your mind at all?
No, because I think when I came out of WWE, my work kind of showed for itself. I was still hustling like I was before WWE, but I was also more polished and better. So I don't think that I went there and just didn't get better. Like, some things just happened and I was just on the list. So it is what it is.
And that was one of the things I wanted to know too, because like, I feel like so many times, people get released and it's like, damn, like, you're focusing on the fact that you got released, right? And it sucks and this and that. But at the same time, it's like, okay, you were there for this period of time. You mentioned wrestling Kushida, you mentioned being part of the NXT breakout tournament, etc. Having all of these different matchups that you were able to have. What would you say was the biggest like lesson that you learned in WWE, or something that you're like, man, had I not gone this route, had I not gone this journey, I wouldn't have came back with this, skill or lesson?
So I made a lot of connections that I never thought I would have. Scotty 2 Hotty, Matt Bloom, Robbie Brookside, especially William Regal. William Regal, someone I grew up watching a lot, from WCW to WWE and everything in between. So to have to talk to him and to have sit down sessions with him and just talk wrestling, that was overall cool with me. So that, I think that those moments made it worth it, just to have those connections. And I just saw Scotty 2 Hotty this past weekend and, kicked off just like we used to. So, I mean, that's always cool to me, because I made those connections with people who I idolize. So that was, sorry, please stop.
Oh, it's okay. He's like, I want to be a star too, man. Enough attention for you. It's my turn.
Yeah. But yeah, those connections, what made it worth it to me.
That's really awesome. I feel like for everything, like even times when things don't work out, it's like everybody has like this purpose. Like, I believe in destiny. So it's like you always go somewhere. There was a reason as to why, you were there and all of that.
Right.
If the opportunity did come about like later on in the future, you're still very, very young. Would you go back to WWE if the terms and situations were different?
I think the phrase here is never say never, but I'm enjoying a lot of what I'm doing right now. I just did some stuff with AEW, now ROH. So I'm really enjoying that. And I'm wrestling a lot more. So I'm enjoying that. Like, I'm wrestling my way. So I would say never say never, but right now I'm doing me. So I'm happy with it.
And I think you're doing you very well because I got a couple of your matches here lined up. And again, let me know if I missed any of them because it was funny because I kept pulling them up and then I was like, oh, wait, there's another one. Oh, wait, there's another one. I got to make sure to put all of these. And I'm looking at your schedule for the next couple of weeks, not only the places that you're working at, but also the opponents that you're going to be having. So this Sunday, at New Japan for the Mutiny show in Vermont in Hollywood, you're going to be wrestling David Finlay. On top of that, you got GCW this exact same weekend. You're going to be wrestling Minoru Suzuki. Then you also have Warrior Wrestling, where you're going to be wrestling Will Ospreay. And then PWG, it's been announcing you're going to be wrestling Black Taurus on May 1st. Let's kind of break it down and talk a little bit about some of these guys, some of these shows, and how you're feeling about those specific shows.
For sure. So the first one, we'll just go in order here.
Yeah.
Minoru Suzuki is first. And I'd say that, like, obviously when it released, a lot of people were like, oh, well, Blake Christian's going to get murdered, or it's nice knowing you. You had a good run. But I'm very excited for it because Minoru Suzuki's been around for a long time. He's a legend. And he's still really, really good. So I'm excited to test myself for that. And I also want to be at like the top level, especially in GCW, and not just wrestling period, but in GCW. So those are the type of challenges that are going to be like brought to me. So testing myself now and to level up now is only going to make me better. So I'm very excited to wrestle Minoru. So
before you move on to the next one, I do want to touch a little bit back on GCW because that's the thing. Like within moments of your release, you were like announced right away, like, oh, you're going to be back here on GCW. What was it like making your return? And obviously you've been having like back-to-back great matches with a variety of different opponents. What has that been like for you?
So I was nervous because like the first time I haven't wrestled in a month, and I haven't wrestled like I was planning to wrestle in a long time. So I was very nervous to see like me. TJP always gets at me for this because I always tease him like, oh, I got to make sure I still got it. But at that point in time, I really felt like I got to make sure I still got it. So I was very nervous for that first one. But as I got back on like the bike, I would say like it was easy, and I was like riding a bike. So the first one was nerve wracking, but the second one, the third one, the fourth one, the fifth one, I was like, okay, I'm good.
You got the wheels going. And that's the thing. Like, I was so excited because those are all the shows that I've seen you at, getting to ring announce your matches and then also see you there. I'm just like, man, like he came in and it's like zero fear going in there, kicking butt. And all your matches that I've seen have all been so different from like the last one that I saw, which just is, is a testament to, to the work that you're putting out there.
Right. Yeah. So like I said, that first one was, in my head was like, nerve-wracking, so maybe in my head my performance was a little downski, but as the second one came, the second one was literally back to normal, and the third one was me, Will Ospreay, and Trey Miguel, and it was fantastic. So I was pretty much set after that first one. The first one was just like, got to shake off the rust a little bit, get back in the groove, figure myself out. So yeah, slowly as the matches progressed on, I started to find my groove again.
Of course. And now I guess I cut you off when you were kind of going off through the other matches that you were talking about.
So David Finlay, I'm very excited for this one. This one is this Sunday at New Japan Strong. Tickets are available right now. David's a guy who when I came into New Japan, I talked to a lot. I watched a lot of David's stuff beforehand. Obviously, I learned from his father in the Performance Center. So yeah, I'm super excited for this. It's definitely a first time matchup, and I'm excited to see how it goes. But more importantly, I'm excited to be able to mix things up with him for sure.
That's going to be a good one, especially I think like David Finlay has like, I've gotten to talk to him before and he has just such a fun personality, is very, open and, so he's a very engaging person. Absolutely. And so to get to see you guys, mix it up in the ring, I think it's going to be very cool. The Vermont in Hollywood is also a pretty interesting venue. I had never been there before and I went to their last show, to their rival show. And I was kind of like, oh, this is a pretty awesome venue. Yeah, kind of hidden, but it's cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool to see. I looked it up beforehand to kind of see like what it looks like and stuff. But yeah, to get there and to be there in person, like it was a pretty cool venue, I'd say.
Nice. And then you also have Warrior Wrestling, Will Ospreay, and then PWG Black Taurus as well.
So Will Ospreay, this match has been a match that I have wanted for probably since I started wrestling, because I obviously watch Will Ospreay a lot. So, and I cut a promo about this at the not the last Warrior show, the Warrior show before, the last one I was on, and I said that a lot of people compare me to him, and it's not because like I'm just a flippy guy or a high flyer or whatever. It's because like I did develop my style from him, and also Will Ospreay created a bunch of innovative stuff that people had never seen before, and I do a lot of that in my wrestling as well. So I don't think it's just a dream match for me, but I think, and maybe this is just my ego or something, pipe down if it is, but I think it's a dream match for the entire wrestling world, because like this is a chance for two guys who are some of the most innovative wrestlers in the world to combine together and to make something huge. So, and also to me, I've been doing this big spill about wanting to be one of the best, and to prove that I could hang with Will Ospreay really gives people a perspective to like okay, maybe this kid knows what he's talking about. Maybe this kid really does want it. So the Will Ospreay one is a huge match for me, and I'm very much excited and ready for that one for sure.
I think so too. I think if anything, it just continues like further elevating your game, going in there with guys like Will Ospreay and, like we mentioned, Minoru Suzuki as well. I think that all of those things kind of just, keep bumping you up on, these, I don't know, these levels, these pedestals, I don't know what you want to call them and whatnot. And then also, the PWG announcement, obviously one of, being here in SoCal, being a SoCal person, the PWG shows are huge. And it's those shows that you're like, the tickets sell out very, very fast. And when you don't get tickets, it very much sucks.
So me and Black Taurus were supposed to wrestle this past weekend, but it turned into a 4-way because it's obviously 12 a.m. A lot of people have seen a lot of wrestling throughout this weekend, and people are tired. So we combined the matches. It was me, Alex Zane, and AG, and Black Taurus. So for this match to be happening now, I'm very excited, and especially now that I'm not 3 matches deep, or this would be my last one, so 6 before, and I'm just absolutely beat up to where I can't give it all in a singles match. But this one, I'm coming off nothing. I'm feeling good. No match prior to that, so I'm very excited to mix it up with Taurus. Especially, I just came back from Mexico, and I've watched Taurus for a long time. Every pretty much any show I've been on, I've always watched his matches. He's a very innovative luchador, and his size is very deceiving. He's a big dude, and he can do a lot of cool things. So, yeah, I'm very excited for that one as well.
That's really awesome. Oh my God, that's so cool. I can't wait to see it. Before we get into our final portion of this interview, I do want to ask you, we're really just kicking off this year. How do you what's on your bucket list for this year?
I definitely want to go to Japan. Definitely want to go to Australia. Location wise, those are and the UK. Location wise, those are my big deals. I definitely would like to wrestle Jon Moxley for the GCW championship. That's definitely on my bucket list as well. I would like to do more stuff with AEW as well. So and to do more stuff with ROH as well. I guess those two are
yeah.
now. So yeah, I got to do an Ultimate X match, which I've watched those matches ever since I was a kid. So I got to cross that one off. So yeah, I'm. Those are my goals for now. I'm sure more will come to me as it progresses down the line. But
hey,
right
that's
now,
how it goes.
Those are my top ones for sure.
That's really awesome. Well, Blake, we're going to go ahead and move on to the second portion of our interview. I'm going to ask you 10 random questions, and you just answer them however you please. So here we go. Question number 1, how did you and Cora Jade meet?
So it was during the pandemic. I slid in their DMs,
So it worked for you.
Yeah, it was just, the rest was history after that one.
There you go. Every now and then you shoot your shot and it actually works. Question number 2, any pre or post match rituals?
I always ask the universe to protect me, protect my opponent, let me perform to the best of my ability, keep us safe, and that's my pre-match ritual always.
Good. Question number 3. What's your favorite city to wrestle in?
Oh, this is a good one. I have to say top of the list right now, just because it was at the Hammerstein Ballroom, was New York City.
Such a good moment for GCW and everything.
For sure.
Question number 4. Favorite wrestlers growing up?
Eddie Guerrero, top of the list, all-time favorite. Second, Rey Mysterio. Yeah, those two are my top two always.
Nice. Favorite late night snack?
I like strawberry Twizzlers. I don't like cherry ones. I like the strawberry Twizzlers.
Yummy. Question number 6. Favorite person to watch wrestle? Favorite person to wrestle.
Favorite person to wrestle. That's a good one. I've wrestled a lot of people that I enjoy wrestling. I don't know. Maybe a top between Jonathan Gresham, Nick Wayne, and Jordan Oliver's another one. Me and Jordan Oliver have always had great matches, so I enjoy combining our minds together to make something special.
I love it. All young up-and-coming stars, continue building upon that. Question number 7, favorite movie genre?
I'm such a movie guy, but I do love the horror movies.
Nice. Question number 8, worst travel story?
Probably this past weekend. So I overslept, missed my flight, but also when I got there, they said it was canceled anyways. So I tried to book a flight to get home that day, but didn't work out. But it was fine. Went to Wrestlemania, watched the show, and then flew out the next day. So it was fine. But that's overall my worst one. Yeah.
Okay, so not too bad, but that's still annoying though. It's annoying.
Good,
yeah.
But it started bad.
Yeah. I get you. Question number 9, best way to entertain yourself while traveling?
I either watch a lot of wrestling, I play Angry Birds or Tetris, or I just listen to music and sleep.
Good way to spend it. And question 10, I just realized I asked you this question already, but if you want to add anything outside of wrestling that is perhaps on your bucket list.
Maybe nothing outside of wrestling. I'm just living life when I'm out here with my dog and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think the goals I set in mind are the only ones I got for right now. But as we know, this wrestling game changes so much, and more goals keep added. So especially when you smash ones, you got to go for the other ones. So yeah, I think my goals stay the same, and then eventually down the road they'll change.
Perfect. Well said. Blake, thank you so much for chatting with me here today. I had a blast. Go ahead and plug in anything you'd like to plug in. Let the people know where they can follow you, where they can watch your work, etc.
You can catch my Twitter. It is _Blake Christian, and then my Instagram is real_Blake Christian. You can catch me this weekend wrestling Minoru Suzuki at GCW at the Ukraine Cultural Center, and then this weekend on Sunday, me versus David Finley plus an entire all-star lineup for New Japan Strong at the Vermont. You can get tickets now. I will share that on my Twitter and where you can get the tickets at, because I don't have the link memorized in my head, but I will definitely share that as soon as this interview is over.
Awesome. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that all of those links are shared in the description box below. If you guys want more information, you guys can go ahead and find that on there as well. Everything will be in the description box below, where you guys can also follow Blake Christian on Twitter, etc. But other than that, I'm Denise Salcedo. This is Blake Christian, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye, everyone.